Hey guys, it's Jesse, and it is currently 1854, and I just want to talk to you guys today about the Kansas-Nebraska Act and all the kind of controversy that's been happening with it, I guess. If you don't know, the act is basically about popular sovereignty in the Kansas-Nebraska territories. And the reason it came about was a man named Stephen Douglas from Illinois wanted to build a transcontinental railroad all the way from Massachusetts to California. Well, I just said Massachusetts, East Coast to California, so that would make travel a lot easier and probably safer in some cases. Donner Party, I am looking at you on this one. But they wanted to determine whether to be free or slave by the basis of popular sovereignty, which, if you don't know, is that people get to decide whether or not they want slavery in their territory by voting on it. And it's a pretty simple idea, and I personally like the idea because it allows people's voices to get heard instead of having their voices filtered and watered down through a representative. There were two votes that were held in Kansas specifically about this whole ordeal, and they used popular sovereignty. The first vote, was about the Constitution and how it would be worded. It wasn't about whether or not they wanted slavery or whether or not they did want slavery, but it ended up winning that they did that a certain wording, and they had a second vote called about whether or not they would have slavery or freedom in that state territory, I should say. And the two votes kind of went against each other and clashed because in the first vote, there were a hell of a lot of people from Missouri who came over and voted in the vote so that their votes would get counted. And this led to an unfair number of votes being cast. And so in a town with a population of 30 people, 200 votes were cast. And that ended up, and that's just unfair because if you don't live there, you shouldn't be voting on any of their situations. Missouri just wanted a town next door to it to have slavery. Now, I don't much like this act. Well, I shouldn't say that. I don't much like what came of this act, what happened after it, because it's worsening the tensions of the North and the South. It's pitting people who believe in abolition and people who believe in slavery against each other, and it's just not fair because the government itself just doesn't want to deal with it, and so they keep kind of pushing it back and back and back, and all that's going to do is just explode in their faces, basically. While the idea of popular sovereignty is great, the fact that we don't have a great way to keep records of people means that that other people can vote, and it's just going to create a whole cluster of bad situations, and it's just going to create timeline. It's just going to keep going and snowballing and snowballing and snowballing until eventually it just fails, and the two sides eventually are going to fight it out, I guess. There's not much else they can do. I can't think of a way that can solve this, and the more they push back, I think the worse it's going to get. This is Jesse. I'm signing off. See you guys.